Very good evening. Thank you for joining the satsang. Thank you for joining the satsang, Sai Satcharita Parayan. Today we'll continue with chapter 13. Gurubhyo Namaha Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha Om Shri Saraswataya Namaha Om Shri Guru Dattatreya Namaha Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Sai Satcharita, the life and teachings of Shirdi Sai Baba. Chapter 13, the cure of Bhimaji's tuberculosis. My obeisance to Shri Ganesh, to Shri Saraswati and Shri Guru Maharaj, to the family deity, to Shri Sita Ramachandra, my most humble obeisance. I bow in reverence to the most venerable Guru, Shri Sai Nath. In expression, very brief and aphoristic, but in the gravity of their meaning, most profound, wide and comprehensive in their application, and yet equally compressed. Such were Baba's words, which were very deep in significance and substance, and so perfectly well balanced and precious. They were never meaningless or in vain. Follow your goal, consistent with what has gone before and what is to follow. Act in compliance with what has been ordained. Forever be content and never leave place for worry or anxiety. Look, even though I have become a fakir, freeing myself from all care, without the encumbrances of a house and a family, and am sitting in one place, calm and still, abandoning all the cares and vexations of life. Still, this irrestrainable Maya harasses me time and again. I may well forget her, but she never forgets me, but clings fast to me all the time. She is the Adi Maya of Sri Hari, who has distracted even Brahma and other gods. What then is the case of a weak fakir like me before her? But when Hari himself is pleased, only then will she be destroyed. Without ceaseless Hari bhajan, there is no release from this Maya. Such was the great importance of Maya that Baba explained to his devotees. And to ward off her influence, he advised God's service through constant singing of his praises. Saints are my living image, so said Sri Krishna himself in the Bhagavad. Who does not know these words pronounced so clearly to Uddhava by Hari? Wow, what a beautiful lesson and how profound it is. Baba is saying he also gets affected by Maya, and which is amazing. So, what about a mere mortals like us? Lord's Maya is very powerful. And what is Maya all about? It is about the worldly attachments. I am this body, I am somebody's wife, daughter, sister, you name it, brother, father, mother. This is all an attachment. It's a bondage. Oh, I am working in this world. I have to take care of my family. I am sick. I don't know. I have a lot of desires. I need to fulfill those desires. I'm here for a purpose, and my purpose is to get lost in the material world. The material world getting lost is the Maya. Maya makes you think you are the doer because she makes you believe you need to earn for the family. If not for you, what happens? Oh, your old parents are sick. You need to take care. You're responsible. This is how Maya works. And in fact, it's beautiful what Baba says here. Even though I have become a fakir, freeing myself from all care, without the encumbrances of a house and a family, and I am sitting in one place, calm and still, abandoning all the cares and vexations of life. Still, this irrestrainable Maya harasses me time and again. I may well forget her, but she never forgets me, but clings fast to me all the time. She is the Adi Maya of Sri Hari, who has distracted even Brahma and other gods. What then is the case of a weak fakir like me? It's Baba's way of telling. He's only being very humble. But what he's also saying here is that how powerful is this Maya? And if you get into it, then you can never come out. She will cling you in her clutches and she'll ensnare you, and you can never come out of that entanglement ever. So what is the method to getting out of Maya is beautifully mentioned here. Most important, but when Hari himself is pleased, only then will she be destroyed. Without ceaseless Hari bhajan, then there is no release from this Maya. The only way to overcome Maya is you have to praise, sing Hari Bhajan. You have to sing the glories of the God. Not any God, but here is very specific, Lord Krishna himself. That is what is mentioned here. Such was the great importance of Maya that Baba explained to his devotees. And to ward off her influence, he advised God's service through constant singing of his praises. We forget in our daily running of rat race, we forget doing the most important thing, which is ordained by our guru. Here again, it is a reminder for you and for me, saying that you have to sing the prayers. There are bhajans that you are being asked to sing. Do not, do not say I don't have time. You must take that 15 minutes to do your prayers. This is a reminder. Actually, this is a reminder for me as well. I do my daily prayers. I sing bhajans, but there are days when I'm running back to back. I have calls, but that is no excuse. That is exactly what is being taught here. That you have to every day sing the Hari Bhajan, sing the Lord's praises. That is the only way to overcome Maya. There is no other way. It's beautiful that I'm sure it's you and me. We find our answers through the teachings of this beautiful stories of Sai Baba. What it is talking about. We get so lost in our material world. We feel tired. We feel, oh God, today I feel low. I don't feel like doing something. I don't want to get up. I don't want to eat. I don't want to cook. We have too many I don't want. But in order to overcome all that I don't wants, the only way is to being lost in that beautiful bhajan, which will give you, make you content inside, not just content, but also when the divine is pleased, he will remove that Maya out of your life. Nobody can get over the Maya except with the grace of the Lord Shri Hari himself. Nobody else. Well, only when Lord Krishna is, pleased, only then can you overcome his Maya with his grace alone. But nobody else can take you out of this. This is what Baba is saying here. So please take the time out and spend whatever, bhajans, Krishna bhajans, Lord Shri Krishna's bhajan that you know, please sing them. Even if it means 5 minutes, take the time out in your life. Saints are my living image. So said Shri Krishna himself in the Bhagavad. Who does not know these words pronounced so clearly to Uddhava by Hari? Hence, listen with humility to the profound truth that Sai Samarth, the compassionate one, uttered for the welfare of his devotees. Only those virtuous souls whose sins had all been obviated worship me and recognized my mark. This is very profound. Here it's very clearly mentioned who can recognize these divine beings. Only those virtuous souls whose sins had all been obviated worship me and recognized my mark. When you say recognized my mark, what does it mean? If you observe very closely, very closely to the great masters, they have a mark. Example, my Krishna Guruji has a beautiful mark. From his forehead till here, he has a beautiful mark, and that is the mark of the divine. It talks about from who he is. That is the mark he carries. You can see it very distinctively, but that grace is only that grace is there only on those who have overcome their sins, who have finished their karmas, and then they are there with the Guru to serve him and evolve on the path of spirituality. They can recognize him. That mark is so visible, and it is the truth pointing you to who this divine being is, who is this great master is. If you only will utter Sai Sai all the time, I will, with my grace, present you even the 7 seas, that is, protect you even beyond the 7 seas. Trust these words of mine, and you will achieve your welfare most certainly. Please have faith. When you chant the name of the Lord is there to protect you. He is going to cross you beyond the 7 seas, and you will be able to evolve further. It is his responsibility how he, shores you across and makes you reach your destination, which is the highest spiritual wheel which you can attain ever. I do not need either all the elaborate articles of puja or the 16 even eightfold ceremonies or rites of puja. Where there is boundless faith, I abide there. Absolutely true. They are not asking you to perform these great rituals, doing Agnihotra or, having oblations offered in the sacred fire, and doing all this pompous puja, sacrifices. Baba saying, I don't need any of those. I'm not even asking for any of that. All I need is boundless faith, and I abide there. Where there is faith, you can experience all the divinity over there. Baba also says the same thing. When there is faith, I will abide there. That is his benediction, and that is the truth. And like I keep saying, as is your faith, so are your experiences. It all begins with you, and that first word is faith. And that is why Baba says you need to have Shraddha and Saburi. Shraddha means faith, Saburi means patience. Faith and patience. Keep reminding yourself to have that absolute faith in the divine. But not because you want something from them. No, because you love them. That should be your motto. Not because, you don't have to go behind the divine or have the faith because you're going to get something. Then it is not called faith. Then you are going with an ulterior motive. You have an agenda why you want to have that faith. That kind of faith doesn't work. Know this for sure. So Baba had said time and again, out of his love for his devotees, now we can find comfort only in remembering his affectionate words. And just see what a marvelous thing was done by this Sai, the compassionate friend and the protector of all who seek refuge, clearly espousing the cause of his devotees. Without allowing the mind to be diverted, with full concentration, listen to the whole of this new story, and you will find fulfillment, where the shower of nectarine words from Sai's mouth is itself the fountain of strength and satisfaction, who, with his own welfare in mind, will tire of the effort to come to Shirdi. In the last chapter, the story of an Agnihotri Brahmin was narrated, where he was given darshan of his own guru, who had already taken samadhi, thereby bringing him great joy. Now this chapter is even sweeter than the last. A devotee, enfeebled by tuberculosis, was restored to good health by breaking off his evil habit in a dream. Wow, I'm sure it's quite exciting. Let us see what Baba does. And so listen, O faithful ones, with full concentration to this marvelous life of Sainath, which destroys all sin. This life is as purifying, as sanctifying as the water of the Ganges, which helps attain liberation in this world as in the next. Blessed are the ears of those who listen to it. We may compare it with the Amrit, or the drinking of the immortal, or the drink of the immortals. But can it be sweeter than this? And if Amrit protects life, this life protects us from future births altogether. Living beings think they are all powerful, but he who thinks he can do what pleases him should listen to this story. If the living being were truly free, why should sorrow and suffering alone be his lot, when he toils for happiness day and night? But such indeed is the power of his fate. Though always quick to avoid suffering, here, there, everywhere, yet it follows him promptly. In trying to ward it off, it embraces him more closely. In shaking it off, it clings faster than ever. In vain does the creature struggle. In vain is the arduous effort day in and day out. Had the creature been really free, he would have sought nothing but happiness and would not have touched anything with even a suspicion of sorrow or suffering. Because of his free will, he would never have committed a sin, but would have accumulated merit in abundance to ensure greater happiness for himself. But a creature is not free. He is pursued by a chain of karma, and strange are the workings of this karma, which pulls the string in life of a living being. With the result, though we may set our sights on virtue, we are drawn compellingly towards sin. While looking for good, virtuous deeds, the body always comes in contact with evil deeds. So true. Okay, let me explain what is being said here. What is being said here is, a man strives so much so that he can find happiness in his life. He can give happiness in his life, and he wants to just throw off the suffering. He just wants to remove all the sufferings from his life. Yet, no matter how hard you try, it keeps following you. And you know why it follows you? Because of your own karma. It's not karma from this life, but it's karma from many lives that you have accumulated, which is the cause of you having this rebirth again and again and again. You have to be born as a human being to expiate that karma, to finish off that karma. And that is why you have this human birth. So you have to be born. But what is being said here is, if you use this opportunity to build the virtuousness, to build all the goodness. If you accumulate good merit, then you will evolve and redeem yourself from the recycle of birth and death. On the contrary, you will find happiness. When we say happiness, it's not happiness. Happiness is just a state of mind. What he's talking about is blissful state. So you're always in a blissful state. You'll be contented. You're not going to be running behind things. You're not going to feel miserable, always caught in the mire of material, the challenges, the delusions, you name it, suffering, sickness. My God, it is endless. Why do we have to keep suffering so much? Because of our past karma. And even when you have this body, we are not doing good. We are not building our good karma. On the contrary, we want to always fall down. We are not making an effort to rise. That is what is being said here. Let me read this again for you. It said, with the result, though we may set our sight on virtue, we are drawn compellingly towards sin. Yes, though we want to have the virtue as our result, but we are drawn, compelling to commit a sin. Why should we do that? So, all the scripture, whether it is Bhagavad Gita, whether it is Sai Baba's Poti, or whether it is Srimad Bhagavatam, Uddhav Gita, everything is teaching one thing, and which is, please be your good self. Why do you have to be mean? Why do you have to be nasty? Why do you have so much ego and arrogance? Can you be nice to every other person? Why can't we be good to, and it's not just good to ourselves, we have to be good to everybody around. Why should we create miseries? There are people in this world who are always dwelling in their mind, and for them to be happy is only a short-lived thing. That momentary happiness all through their life, they will always keep thinking about things which is not even going to happen. It's an imagination. Your mind is giving fantastic imaginations which will lead you to that misery alone. It's that event itself will not happen, but yet you think that is going to happen, or it will happen, and it is your negativity that will make you keep be full of the feeling of bitterness constantly. You're literally living in bitterness. For what? There is no need. You yourself are in miserable state, and you make everybody else life around you even full of suffering. Why do you need to do that? You become the cause of other person's misery as well. There is no need. Can you be good? This is a very important lesson. And it's challenging for people who are constantly living in their mind because they're full of ego and arrogance. You need to give up. What is this? I know. People talk about 1947 stories. I did this. I worked in bank. I know the world. I'm sorry you don't know the world because you're living in a cocoon. You have never opened your mind. You have never learned anything. You have not understood. You think you know too much. You don't even want to listen. Your mind is not even allowing you to listen. This is what a human being becomes. They become this rut. And then what happens? Then you die feeling miserable about your life. You have not, your whole life has gone in misery alone. You've neither given happiness to yourself nor to people around you. And nobody wants to be with you. Why don't you understand this? This is what a man becomes. So don't become that. Be good, be loving, spread joy, spread love. Goodness is what will earn you good merit, so that your future birth you will be born into a good womb where your spiritual growth will happen. This is the truth. So you need to always remember this. Do good. Even if your mind shows you all the bad things and it's trying to tell you to do something bad, stop it. You know what? You need to remember your spiritual will. You have to remind your mind at that time, if you force me to do this, then I'm going to become a sinner. And when I become a sinner, I'm going to go and be born again to suffer the misery of this material worldly existence again and again. Why? Because I'm committing all the sins and I have to come to redeem it. And this is what happens. You have to come to repay it. Forget about redeeming. You will have to come to repay it. That is the primary importance of committing a sin. Because you can't repay in this life, so you have to come back in some other life to repay that. And how many karmas are you going to make? And how many people are you going to make this karma with? So my Guruji will always teach me one very beautiful thing. He'll say, let it be. Do not get into anybody's karma. Why do you want to get associated with karma with that person? A very beautiful lesson my Guruji has taught many a time. Yes, people might say bad to you. People might do bad to you. But if you do good to them, I think in an earlier chapter as well, Baba said, do good to those, even to those who have done bad to you. And this is exactly what my Guruji also teaches. He says, People might have done horrible things with you, but still you do good. You know why? Because you want your spiritual wheel. It is not about the other person, it is about you. And when you do good, you rise in the eyes of the Lord. Lord Shri Krishna will please you, and He is going to give you what you rightfully will deserve. And that is spiritual wheel. He'll give you a birth. You will be born in the womb of a very divine being, a good household where you will get that facility to evolve on the path of the spiritual. That is what he's talking about. It's not about trying to be mean and arrogant and all these things. That's not going to take you anywhere. On the contrary, you're regressing, you're further falling down, not only in the eyes of the divine, but you're not going to have any goodness for yourself as well. You will fall in your own eyes too. So my Guruji says, and one very important thing he teaches, you must be feeling, okay, this person has done bad to me and you're so angry. But he says a beautiful thing. He says, you think God is not watching? He's watching everything. He's keeping an account of everything and who's doing what. And know that when these people doing bad, and if you do good, you will rise in the eyes of the divine. And also know that then his universe teaches them a lesson. And he says a beautiful thing, भगवान का घर में देर है लेकिन अंधेर नहीं. एंड उसका चक्की पीसता है लेकिन बहुत फाइन पीसता है और वो देर से पीसता है. It is not when you want that person to get a lesson. It is at the will of the divine. When he wants and how he has to teach that lesson, he will teach. That person is going to get that lesson. Know this for very sure. People show their arrogance. People come and talk whatever comes to their mind and say however they, behave in whatever manner they want. And even after warning many times, they don't realize this. And you misbehave and say whatever you want. But know that you are going to suffer. You're going to face the repercussions for that. And that repercussion, when it's happened, you don't know what hit you. You can't even wake up from where you fell. That is how the divine works. So don't mess with the divine and don't challenge his universe. I'm saying this to everybody because you human beings need to fear God. We say God is love, but you need to fear God because it's not you as a divine being, the one within. Your mind has to fear because the mind is always constantly guiding you on the path of a karma or a sin. It only wants to put you down. It's never allowing you to rise above. So let your mind fear the divine. So, but now listen, my listeners, to the story of Bhimaji Patil of Narayan which is in the Junnar Taluk of Pune district. In sweetness, the tale is a veritable overflow of Amrit. Bhimaji was well-to-do and hospitable to the visitors, especially in the matter of serving food. Never touched by sadness, his countenance always had a glow of happiness. But inexplicable are the ways of destiny, which brings us gains and losses for which we cannot account. Sufferings result from our karma, come to our lot, and disease afflicts us that we do not seem to deserve. In the year 1909, misfortune dogged Bhimaji when he had an attack of pulmonary consumption and began to run a temperature. Then started fits of unbearable coughing. The fever began to rise sharply and waxed stronger. Day after day, Bhimaji was dismayed. There would be froth at the mouth all the time and mouth full of brackish spittles of blood. The stomach would have a nauseating sensation and the restless tossing of the body would not cease. The patient was bedridden. His body became emaciated and began to shrivel up. Though remedies were tried to the utmost, he was greatly troubled in his mind. He did not relish any food or drink, nor was even gruel or any other regimen tolerated. All this made him feel restless and quite lost. The suffering of the body was beyond all endurance. Propitiation of gods, exorcising, everything was tried. The doctors, the Vaidyas, they had given up all effort. Patil too had given up all hopes of survival and felt quite puzzled in his mind. He was distressed. His days seemed numbered. Day by day, the exhaustion grew. Many days passed in this manner. He propitiated the family deity, but to no avail. It did not restore him to good health. He now grew wary of consulting astrologers and exorcisers. Some said, what physical malady is this? Oh, what fate is this to bring on such suffering? Human remedies all seemed futile. Doctors were tired. Hakims were summoned, but in treating him, they all came to their wits' end. No one could do anything. All their efforts failed. Patil became weary and despondent, saying to himself, "Oh God, what have I done? Why has everything failed? What terrible sin could I have committed to deserve such suffering?" And yet, how strange are God's ways! He is not remembered even for a moment by one who is enjoying happiness. Inscrutable is his Leelas. How true it is. We all want to remember God only when we are suffering, not when we are in a happy state. And you know what? When you meet with bad fate or failure or this kind of sufferings, is when you'll blame the God. Oh, it's God, why don't you have mercy on me? Why are you making me suffer? Why do you think God is going to make you suffer? You think God is what, such a heartless being? God is the ever compassionate. It is your karma because of which you are suffering. But the same thing, when you're in a happy state, you enjoy success, you're getting fame, people are praising you, that time you'll say, oh, it's my hard work. I see many a time there are people who will come to my guru with a begging bowl. My guru will bless them. My guruji will bless them. Once he blesses them, once they get that, then they'll completely forget about even acknowledging my guruji. They don't even want to say a word of thank you. They to completely forget about it, and then they'll promise too many things in the beginning, and then when they have that, when they achieve that objective, they'll say, yeah, it is because of my hard work I attained this. That is how people are in this world, mean. But you know what my guruji says, something which Baba used to tell, and his great grandfather used to tell my guruji, and that is, jo dega uska bhi bala, jo nahi dega uska bhi bala. Which means, if somebody gives, they also get their well-being. If somebody doesn't give, they also get their well-being. The divine being looks at both a wicked person and a good being in the same, in the samabhav, equanimity. They don't differentiate between anybody, because at the end of the day, they know all this is a play of Maya, everything is unreal. But the most important thing here to understand is how much divine you want to be, how much you put in an effort, and how much initiative you take. All that is in your hands alone. Though this world is itself is unreal, but yet it is on, like I said, they take this manifest they take this human birth, or they manifest as a human being only to bring a dharma on the path of dharma, to establish dharma in this world. To, like, in yesterday's chapter we learned that the Baba gives an opportunity to the unrighteous person to become righteous. And that is why, that is why they say we do not discriminate between somebody who's a good or somebody who's committing an evil. It doesn't matter. But their grace is more, and they always give an opportunity to the ones who are fallen way below in the gutter. They're literally gone to the rock bottoms. The only thing that can happen is they can raise. God always gives this opportunity. Many a time I keep asking this question to my Guruji, why do you do this? But then he says, I want to give them a chance, because they've already committed so much of sins that there needs to be somewhere they have to redeem themselves. How can they redeem? Only when the grace is, given to them. They need to take their grace and they need to evolve. So I've seen my Guruji do this. But it's very sad when I see how people treat him, and it's very sad to me. But it doesn't matter to them. It doesn't affect to them. It doesn't affect them at all. But yes, it does matter to me, because I see they are such a selfless being. They are wearing themselves out. But here there are people who do not acknowledge anything. And you're such an ungrateful creature. But know that when you commit this kind of sin, you will suffer. The wrath will come. But even that sin, poor thing, the Guruji themselves will have to take. The Gurus take on themselves, which is so sad. Because we keep committing more and more sins. So don't do that. Always say, offer your thankfulness. You might not even give anything, but even with a leaf of tulsi, please say thank you. At least have that much of gratitude in you, or that much of gratefulness for what the divine beings are doing and bestowing upon you. Don't be an ungrateful creature. When he himself so wishes, he sends a chain of calamities of various kinds, thereby making man remember him and cry out in anguish, "Help me, O Narayana." And when God heard Patil's anguish cry for help, he was at once moved by compassion, and Bhimaji suddenly thought that he should write a letter to Nana Chandorkar. Nana will surely do something that others will not be able to do. Such was the great confidence that Patil felt. And that was indeed a good omen for him. That was the beginning of the cure of his disease. Later, he wrote a detailed letter to Nana. To have remembered Nana Sahib at that moment was nothing but Sainath's prompting. It was the cause of the removal of his disease. The ways of the saints are most wonderful. Even in the rotation of the wheel of fortune, there seems to be a divine plan. Hence, no one should imagine it to be otherwise and most vainly. To all the good actions and bad, it is God who holds the strings. It is He who preserves and He who destroys. He alone is the doer. Yes, we are all not the doer. We are only a puppet in the hands of the marionetter, the puppeteer. He makes us dance to his tunes. So please, when he knows, when you're gone astray on the path of a dharma, or you are not even remembering the divine, in order for you to remind him, he's going to make you suffer. Actually, it's said beautifully here. When he himself so wishes, he sends a chain of calamities of various kinds, thereby making a man remember him and cry out in anguish, "Help me, O Narayana." So the only way a man remembers God is when they are in that miserable state. Otherwise, man doesn't want to remember God. Even a little of success, little of this fame, they think no end of themselves. They think that they have achieved some great things in life, and they say, I did it, I did it, I did it. What a fantastic ego they develop. They become such egoistic characters that one day, when suddenly God pulls the rug off their feet, they'll fall so badly that they can't even get up. So don't have this ego. Never. Always have this humility and always remember the divine, because it is the divine whose will you are safe and sound and have the success and all the name and fame. So give credit to him. Don't think that I did it. Patil wrote to Chandorkar, I am tired of taking medicines. I am really fed up of this life itself. The world to me seems so cheerless and dreary. Doctors have given up hope, concluding that the disease is incurable. Vaidyas and Hakims too are at a loss for remedy. As for me, my hopes are sunk to the lowest. And so I have to make only one last humble request. It is the one strong desire of my heart to be able to meet you with the utmost certainty. On reading the letter, Chandorskar's heart was filled with sadness. For Bhimaji Patil, he knew was a good man, and his heart was deeply touched with compassion. In reply to your letter, he wrote, I suggest only one remedy. Hold fast to Sai Baba's feet. This is the only ultimate remedy, for he alone is our father, our mother. He is the only compassionate mother to all, who will come running at our call for help, will pick us up with a mother's affection, and will understand her child's need. When even a dreaded disease like leprosy is cured by his mere darshan, what about tuberculosis? Have not the slightest doubt. Go and catch Sai's feet tightly. Whatever anyone asks for him for, he always gives it to him. This is his promise to which he is bound. Hence I say, hurry up and take Sai's darshan. What is the greatest among all the fears but the fear of death? Go and clasp Sai's feet firmly, for he alone will make you fearless. So unbearable was Patil's agony, so precariously balanced his life, that he became very impatient, thinking, when will I meet Sainath? When will I achieve my purpose? Great was Patil's restlessness. Pack everything at once, he said. Prepare to leave tomorrow. Let us be on our way to Shirdi quickly. Having made this firm resolve, Patil took leave of everybody and set out for Shirdi to have darshan of Sai Maharaj. Taking his relatives with him, Bhimaji started at once with a heart full of anxious anticipation as to how he would reach Shirdi as quickly as possible. Patil's cart came to the square near the mosque, and thence to its front door. Four people bore Bhimaji on their hands and brought him up. Nana Sahib was accompanying him, and Madhavrao, because of whom it was easy for everyone to meet Baba, had already come there too. On seeing Patil, Baba said, Shama, how many more thieves are you going to burden me with? What is this right on your what is this right on your part? Bhimaji lowered his head on Sai's feet and said, Sainath, have mercy on me, this friendless destitute. Protect me, O Dinanath. Sainath was moved by pity on seeing Patil's sufferings. In that moment, Patil felt assured in his mind, and his suffering was allayed. On seeing Bhimaji's great distress, Sai Samarth, the ocean of compassion, was deeply touched and said, with a smile on on his countenance. Rest assured, give up all anxiety. The thoughtful and the reflective do not bemoan. The moment you put your foot in Shirdi, your suffering has ended. Yes, when you come in the presence of the divine, all your suffering ends. And my Guruji will always say one thing, and I believe in it. You might think there's something bad happening, and you might believe there's something, there's not good going on. You're feeling, oh, why is this happening? Everything happens for good alone. We don't know what is good in that. But even what you feel is bad is only happening for the good alone. I think I narrated the very beautiful story of my Guruji's Gurudev, Lord Dattatreya, who, when during my initial days in spirituality, he said, "Remember one most important lesson, and that is, whatever your Guru puts you through, he's doing it for your good alone. Everything is happening for the good alone because you're getting purified, purified, purified. You become purer by the day." So whether it is suffering, whether there is some afflictions, whether there is your you have challenges in your material world, in your personal life, no matter what that suffering is, everything is happening for the good alone. And this is the assurance you need to have, this is the faith you need to have in the divine. When you have surrendered your life in the hand at the feet of the divine, know that he takes care of it. You don't have to be bothered. What has to come to you will come to you. What is due to you will be anyways given to you. So don't ask, and only seek his grace at all times, and have that faith in him to eternity. That is the most important thing. You may be up to your neck in the sea of obstacles. You may have sunk deep into the great pit of sorrow and suffering, but know that he who once climbs the steps of this mosque will enjoy the greatest of happiness. Absolutely is true. This is very true. The day I met my Guruji, my life transformed. And today, this person who's sitting here is because of the grace of my Guru, my Krishna Guruji. It is he who has, made me into this pure being, the divine being that I am. If not for him, I am not any of this. These words are of his wisdom. Today, this opportunity to study Sai Satcharita Parayana is his grace. Without the great master's grace, I wouldn't even be able to open this book. This knowledge cannot open. So in some way, you're also, you have that merit, and you are blessed, and that is why you're able to listen. But make that effort to listen to these beautiful leelas, because it is going to purify yourself. Whatever that pain you might be, whatever challenges that might you have, whatever obstacles that you're facing, everything will be washed off like that, just with one glance by the Guru. The moment he looks, your world is transformed. That is the power that they hold. That is the grace that they have to give on this entire universe. That is the divinity who they are. So have that faith. The fakir, the fakir of this place is very kind. He will eradicate your disease and pain. He who has compassion for all will look after you very lovingly. Hence, you rest assured, stay in the house of Bhimaji. Go now, and in a day or two you will get relief. Just as one who has no hope of survival suddenly, by a stroke of luck, gets a shower of nectar and instantly gets a new lease of life, such was the satisfaction that Patil felt. And as he heard the words coming from Sai's mouth, Patil experienced a deep satisfaction, as that of one on his deathbed receiving a draught of nectar, or one parched with thirst a drink of water. The mouthfuls of spittle of blood that rose to the mouth every 5 minutes subsided when Baba sat with him for 1 hour. Baba did not examine the patient, did not ask about the cause that gave rise to the disease. His glance of grace alone was enough to destroy the very roots of the disease in an instant. Enough is this glance of kindness, and even a withered log would sprout into leaf, and the flowers would bloom before it is spring, and the trees would be heavy with luscious fruit. What is disease or health? Unless one's merit or sins cease to be, or unless one works out one's karma, no other remedy will work. Only by working it out will the karma cease to be. This one thing is most certain, birth after birth, unless we work out our karma, no other means will liberate us. Absolutely true. I have to give a very beautiful story about my own Guruji. Somebody's child, in a foreign land was very sick, and this person writes to my Guruji, Guruji, please save my child. And my Guruji, this child has suffering from severe some heart problem. I don't know what exactly the problem is. My Guruji wouldn't tell, but I know he was suffering with some serious issues. And then my Guruji did face some things. He was restless, and he was not up to the mark when I saw him in the morning. Then I asked him what happened. So he said, this child is unwell, but now he will be fine. You know what these great masters do? They take it on themselves, the sufferings of such the world, and such is the divine people they are. They suffer it on themselves, and they wear themselves out so that they can eradicate the suffering and pain of you. Sometimes their body cannot handle beyond a point. They will take it on themselves and suffer it. It is so sad to see them suffer. I find it hard. How can these divine beings suffer so much beyond a point? It's still a body. See, the body is made of five elements. It will wither away someday. You can only keep taking so much, so much, so much, but it will not last. But this is how the divine beings are. Even Baba, what he would do, he would burn all of that, not only on himself but also in he had this dhuni going on constantly, so he would remove a lot of these afflictions. But at the end of the day, Baba also is this body, meaning he has donned the body. That body cannot take the suffering beyond a point, and then they will have to let the body wither away, and they will have to leave the body. This is what happens. So please don't ask the divine being to take your rubbish karmas or sufferings, because that is not why you are here. You are here for a spiritual being. Just by the glance, you need to have that conviction that I am fine, and trust me, you will be fine. Nothing shall befall you. This is what Baba is saying here. Similarly, I keep telling my Guruji, please keep don't taking on others' sufferings. But you know what he says? Sometimes these people cannot handle, so I have to do. That is my job. That is why I am here. That is who I am. How sweet it is. Sometimes tears just flow through my eyes. I can't stop crying. I have no words to describe what I feel. I can never say I can suffer, and that's exactly what my Guruji says. Tell me, everybody wants only happiness. Nobody wants pain and suffering. And that day he asked me, can you ask for suffering? Can you suffer for others? No, why would I want to suffer? It's we are all mean people. But the divinity or the divine people are there so that they can eradicate the sufferings of the world. They can give them love. They can make them feel good. That is what we are here for. That is why we have to spread the words of the divine. We have to talk about the leelas. We have to spread goodness here, and we need to ensure that we help everybody in this world. That is our purpose. It is not about I, me, myself. It's not about satisfying my own desires. Such is the greatness of my Guruji as well. He suffers for everybody, and people don't even value that, and he will not even say that he's suffering for them. That's the beauty of it. you know he'll say nobody knows that he's already solved the problem. You just have to remember him. That's his good enough. People write to him, my mom had this, my dad had this. Even I say to him, please take care of my mom. That's all I will say. But he's all knowing. He does it. I don't even have to open my mouth and ask. He takes care. That is the greatness of this divine master. Fall at their feet. You are blessed to be with them. Yet, if once extraordinary good fortune one has the darshan of a saint, it is able to remove the affliction, and the afflicted one will then bear the painful malady easily and without pain. Diseases bring severe pain and suffering. The saint, with his compassionate glance, removes diseases without causing any suffering. It is Baba's word that is the authority. That alone is the most infallible remedy. Malaria was once cured similarly when a black dog was fed on rice and curds. These shorter tales may be looked upon as a digression from the main story, but when heard in their gist, their appropriateness will be evident. Moreover, it is not Sai himself who brings them to my mind. I will myself narrate my own story. Sai has said, and it is he who has reminded me of these stories at this juncture. A very devout tailor, Bala Ganapat by name, once came to the mosque and stood in front of Sai, entreating him with a piteous face. What is such a great sin that I have committed? Why does this malaria fever not leave me? Baba, numerous are the remedies that I have tried, but this fever does not leave my body. Oh, what shall I do now? I have tried herbal remedies, decoctions, everything. At least you tell me a remedy whereby this fever will go. Baba's heart melted and replied, he suggested a novel remedy for malaria. Just listen to it. Feed a black dog near the temple of the goddess Lakshmi with a few mouthfuls of rice and curd, and you will be cured instantly. With some trepidity, Bala then went home to look for the dog. Luckily, he saw some rice under a cover. Curd too was found nearby. Bala thought, it is good that the curd and rice are found, but will there be a black dog near the temple at the right time? Baseless was Bala's worry, for no sooner did he reach the place indicated than he saw a black dog approaching him, wagging his tail. Bala was simply delighted to find everything happening according to Baba's indications. He then fed the curd and rice to the dog and afterwards narrated to Baba everything that had happened. In short, whatever one may say about this incident, the fact is that from that moment the malaria fever left Bala and he got relief. Similarly, Bapu Sahib Bhutti once had severe diarrhea and repeated bouts of vomiting due to a chill in the stomach. The cupboard was full of medicines of all sorts, but not one of them was effective. Bapu Sahib was frightened in his heart and began to worry. Repeated motions and bouts of vomiting left Bapu Sahib exhausted and weak. He had not the energy even to go for Baba's darshan, as was his daily practice. News reached Baba's ears. He sent for Bhutti and made him sit in front of himself. Mind you, he said, from now on you will not go for evacuation of bowels. And remember, even the vomiting must cease. Facing him, he waved his forefinger and once again repeated the same words to him. In short, such was the awe produced by those words that in fright both the afflictions took to their heels at once. Buddhi, however, experienced great relief. Oh my god, this is so beautiful. I'm going to narrate my own experience here, what happened. I had a similar issue once, I think many years ago, back in 2012. I was in Singapore. I had vomited for 3 hours and I had diarrhea for literally like an hour. I became skin and bones. I was weak, and my Guruji was traveling. And when I called him, he started shouting at me. He said, "You better stop." And what do you think? And I'm like, I start crying. He's scolding me. I thought, why are you scolding me? I'm so sick. I didn't understand. But he was telling my disease to go away, my affliction. He was not scolding me. He was threatening that affliction. And that's such a beautiful thing. And I was just cured one at one's moment. The same time, I felt relief. You won't even believe. I couldn't eat anything. I had lost weight. When he arrived in Singapore and he just touched me and said, "You eat this, nothing will happen to you." Just that faith, I was able to eat. I had given up eating a lot of different kinds of foods. All I used to survive on was little rice, dal, the basic dal, so that I wouldn't vomit. I was completely fearful. I don't know when I'm going to vomit. If I go eat, I would be afraid. So food became an aversion in the sense I don't want to eat, because if I eat, I'm going to vomit or I'm going to have diarrhea. This was my case. But my Guruji will say, "Go eat, it's okay, nothing will happen to you." And when he says eat, I would very happily eat. And then honestly, nothing would happen. Such was his power, such was his grace. So this is a very beautiful thing. And it is very real because I have experienced this personally myself. And the ways of treating different things are very different by different Gurujis. Every guru has their own way of treating and curing some of these afflictions. How they do it, why they do it, we don't know. But when you surrender to them, they understand and they remove all that, all that suffering from you, the pain and whatever the disease that is there, you just ward it off. But you also need to understand they can only take on so much. They cannot remove it completely because of your prarabdha karma. You will have to go through that some element of suffering, and that is a must. And it is said, right? The only way to overcome this is you have to work out your karmas. And if you cannot work out your karmas, you cannot finish it off. So whatever this body has come in this life, the prarabdha karma it has come with, I will have to work it out. There's no alternate to that. The Guruji can only cushion it. The impact will be felt only 10%. I keep repeating this. There's only that minor impact. So whatever Bhutti or anybody that you have seen suffering, that's only a 10%. But the moment you go to the divine masters, they remove that 90% off. And you will cure faster. You will become hale and hearty completely. And when you have the faith, when you keep taking the name of the divine, when you sing their glories, trust me, that itself will remove all your afflictions from this body, and purify your heart and your mind so that you could surrender to the divine and attain your spiritual will. So, in short, such was the awe produced by these words. But in fright, both the afflictions took to their heels at once. Absolutely. Butti, however, experienced great relief. Once before, too, Butti had suffered similarly from loose motions and vomiting when there had been an outbreak of cholera at Shirdi. His throat parched with thirst, his stomach had a constant sick, queasy feeling. Near at hand was Dr. Pillai, who tried all remedies, and when nothing worked, in the end he went to Baba. Humbly, he related everything to Baba, and then Pillai asked Baba, should he be given coffee or is water preferable? And Baba said to him, give him milk and almonds, pistachio, walnuts to eat. Give him taran to drink. That will quench his thirst and his suffering will cease instantly. The point is, when this taran was given to him to drink, his complaint disappeared altogether. Oh, that the words eat walnuts, pistachio, almonds should bring relief to a victim of cholera? The seat of faith was really Baba's words. There was no room for any doubts there. Absolutely. This is how they treat. In the normal course of life, if you say that during cholera, if you want to eat any of this, doctor will say you can't eat because your body cannot handle it. But Baba's way of treating was completely opposite of it. That which you think is going to cause you more pain is what he would give you. That is the remedy for your suffering. How beautiful is it? But what is mentioned here is more important. It is the faith in the words which will bring you that cure, not the doubt. If you even doubt for a moment, oh, if Baba is telling me to eat almonds and pistachio, what is going to happen? My cholera is going to increase. If you think like that, then that medicine will have no effect. But the otherwise, just the faith, okay, Baba has said, I will take it. It's his word is gospel truth. That faith. And when you take it with that faith, the disease will automatically vanish. This is the truth. And whenever your guru says, do this or drink this, you need to be aware of it. And please just go and do it. Do not question ever. Once a Swami from Alandi came to Shirdi, wishing to have the darshan of Sai Samarth. He arrived at Baba's abode, that is the mosque. He was suffering from an affliction of the ear, which had brought on restlessness and a loss of sleep. He had an operation performed, but it was not of the slightest use. There were unbearable shooting pains and no remedy work. So he decided to leave Alandi and come to Baba for blessings. The Swami bowed at Sai's feet, received Udi Prasad, and then asked for blessings, praying that Baba's grace should always be with him. Madhav Deshpande entreated on his behalf to Baba to have mercy on his afflicted ear. Allah will make everything all right, Maharaj assured him. On receiving this blessing, Swami returned to Pune. After 8 days, a letter was received from him that the shooting pains had stopped immediately. Swelling, however, was still there, and other operation was recommended. For which purpose I came to Bombay once again. I went to that same doctor. I wonder if Baba found himself in a strait. But as the doctor examined my ear, he could not locate the swelling. And so the doctor said there was no need for an operation. The Swami was relieved of his great anxiety. Everybody was amazed at Baba's Leela. A similar story comes to my mind in this context. I shall narrate that to the listeners and then I will end this chapter. Just 8 days before the work of paving the floor of the Sabha Mandap commenced, Mahajani suffered from a severe attack of cholera. He began to pass many loose motions, but in his innermost heart, his entire dependence was on Baba, and so he would not take any treatment or medicine, though he was wearied out by the illness completely. Mahajani knew that what a great seer Baba was, hence he did not tell him of his great discomfort. He went on bearing the pain and suffering in the full faith that when Baba wishes it, he will on his own remove the affliction. His only strong desire all along was that even though he was prepared to undergo all the suffering, there should not be a break in his daily puja and arti. And when the motions, so many of them and so frequent, went beyond the limit just in order that he did not miss his daily service of performing Baba's arti, what he would do was, he would keep at his side a copper vessel filled with water in the mosque at a place where it would be easily accessible even in the dark. Himself, he would sit near Baba, pressing his feet, and would be present for the arti without fail, as was his daily practice. If there was dripping or pain in the stomach, The water vessel was always at hand. He would find an unfrequented spot, relieve himself, and return. And now, when Tatya asked for permission to start paving the floor, Baba gave it to him. And listen what he said to him. We are now going to Lendi, but when we return from there, then at that moment start the work for paving. Later, Baba came back and went and sat on his usual seat. Kaka also came at the right time and began to press his feet. Tongas arrived from Kopargaon. Devotees from Bombay reached there too. Laden with puja articles, the devotees climbed up and made obeisance to Baba. Along with all others came the patil from Andheri, bringing with him flowers, consecrated rice, and other puja articles, and sat down waiting for his turn. Suddenly, down in the large open court below, where the chariot used to be kept, exactly at that spot fell the first stroke of the hoe. The work on the floor began. No sooner did he hear the sound than Baba cried out aloud in a strange voice, assuming at once the fierceness of Narsimha with wild glaring eyes. Who strikes his hoe here, hoe there? I shall break his back. So saying, he got up immediately and picked up his baton, striking terror into the hearts of all present. The worker dropped his hoe and ran for his life. They all took to their heels. Kaka too was startled when suddenly Baba took hold of his hand. Where are you going? He said. Come, sit down. Meanwhile, Tatya and Lakshmi came. Baba hurled abuses freely at them to his heart's content. Abuses were showered even on those who stood outside the yard. Suddenly, Baba pulled up a bag of roasted peanuts which was lying there. The bag must have fallen from the hands of someone among those in the mosque who, stricken by panic, ran helter skelter when Baba was in a fit of rage. The nuts must have measured a full seer. Taking them out by the fistfuls, he would rub them in his palm and clean them by blowing off the skins. He would then make Mahajani eat the clean nuts, even as the abusing continued on one side and rubbing the skins off the nuts on other. This is so beautiful. You know what is Baba actually doing? When Baba does something, he's actually removing all that afflictions and the negative energy or whatever the person is suffering, and also parallelly giving him peanuts. He's already having a diarrhea and he's feeding him peanuts. Can you imagine? But Mahajani's faith, he just has to eat it and he will be cured. And you know how beautiful Mahajani has said, I will suffer no matter what happens. He's all knowing. When Baba wishes to cure me, he will cure me. That was Mahajani's faith. That is the faith you need to have. You should never give up the faith, no matter what happens. The only thing he prayed for was, please ensure that when the aarti is there, the daily rituals I need to do, that I am not running, that at that moment I don't have to go out. I have to be there. That was his greatness. This is how the divine works. And when the divine curses you, you should be very grateful, because that is the blessing that they are throwing at you. They're eradicating all the sins, all the afflictions and tendencies that is there in a human being. They're warding off all the negative energies and the evil that is surrounded, within us and around us. That is the power of their curses. I'll always say, my Guruji, please, you can scold me, you can curse me, but never praise. The moment the Guru praises, you will definitely fall. So I'll tell my Guruji, please don't praise me, but you can, call me names, do what you want. It has taken me many years to understand this truth. And today, when he says anything, I very gratefully accept it. I don't get angry, because that is the truth, that is the beauty. And every time my Guruji corrects me, I evolve. That is the only way can you evolve. Never ask for praises, always take their teachings, beatings, whatever that might be. They're all blessings. They are blessings for your for a which will last for, which will definitely last to eternity. Such is their blessing. As the peanuts as the peanuts were finished, no, no, eat them up, he kept on urging as he placed the nuts on Mahajani's hand. A few he occasionally put in his own mouth too. In this way, the entire bag was emptied. As the peanuts were finished, bring water, I am thirsty, he said. Kaka filled up this spouted drinking vessel with water and brought it to him. He drank from it and also asked Kaka to drink. And as Kaka drank the water, he said to him, Go now, your motions have stopped. But where? Oh, where? Have those Brahmins gone? Go and bring them here. Later, people came in. The mosque became full as before. Once again, the work of paving began. But Kaka was cured of his cholera. But oh, what a medicine for loose motions. The real medicine is the word of the saint. He who takes it as prasad needs no medicine. This is the profound truth. The word of the saint is what makes it happen. The cure is the word of the guru. It's gospel truth. You are cured now. That is what makes them cured. Eat this, just eat it. Don't question. And you have to just take it as prasad. Needs no other medicine. That is what it is. You know what? I shall end this with this story here, because we are already end of the hour. I will continue this chapter tomorrow, and we'll finish. We'll see what are the magical ways, or miraculous ways of how Baba cures other patients as well. This is very beautiful. So have that faith in the divine, and nothing shall befall you. So we'll end the chapter. We are not ending. I mean, we stop at the verse 147. We'll continue from 148 tomorrow. Thank you for joining the satsang. I hope you enjoyed the lessons, and please have faith. And even if any sickness comes, just take the name of Baba. Magically, you will be cured. But you need to have that kind of will and the faith. So have a very good evening once again. ओम श्री महागणपते नमः। ओम श्री गुरुदेव दत्त। ओम श्री सच्चिदानंद सद्गुरु साईनाथ महाराज की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। दिगंबरा दिगंबरा श्रीपाद वल्लभ दिगंबरा। ओम श्री कृष्ण गुरुनाथ नाथाय श्री गुरुवे नमः। ओम देवी दुर्गाय नमः। ओम श्री कृष्णार्पणम नमस्तु। कृष्णं वंदे जगद्गुरुम्।